This episode of The Patch is sponsored by Hulu Plus. Hulu Plus lets you binge on thousands of hit shows anytime, anywhere on your TV, PC, smartphone, or tablet. Support this podcast and get an extended free trial of Hulu Plus when you go to huluplus.com/patch. That's huluplus.com/patch.
Hey, everyone.
It's the patch.
It's the patch. Look what I'm doing.
Yeah, I can't reach it from here. I'm too far away now.
Gus is taking charge.
I was just staring at it so I wouldn't forget the whole time.
Focus.
So we got the patch this week with Gus
Ryan.
Ashley.
and Gus. Again.
And Topo Chico.
And probably lots of talk of Titanfall.
Yeah.
Amongst many other topics.
Though I didn't get to play as much as I would have liked to last night.
Bit
You
of a
want to jump
problem.
right to a topic?
Sure, let's do it.
You went fine, everything here at the office. We played a good bit and fun game, but then got home and ran into Microsoft's, as I like to think of it, the first real stress test of their new Microsoft Live platform, and it failed.
Well, what I read was, and I'm looking at the notes here that they released, is that it's unrelated to the launch of Titanfall.
Well, what they said is it's related specifically to sign-in. Like, those
Right.
who are on, it was working fine for anyone who was already logged on. So as long as you just, like, don't log
So never turn your Xbox off ever again. Just leave it logged down.
Luckily, when it happened, I was already logged in, so it was not an issue for me. Just some of the stuff on the side wouldn't load. But
Well, I mean, I really suspect that that's probably the most people they've had to date trying to get on at the same time because, they're still selling consoles, so their volume is increasing, and then they dropped one of their biggest titles. So I suspect that they just hit the wall there.
You would think that it's still a subset of the greater number of consoles. Like, the number of people concurrently trying to play Titanfall is probably less than the number of people who concurrently tried to play Halo 3 when that came out on the 360.
Yeah, but Halo 3 was on a platform that was much more developed at that point.
Right, but
They really
do you think
redid-
the Xbox Live infrastructure is a separate entity? Like, is it a separate cloud for the Xbox One and for the 360?
Yeah, I'm willing to bet it is. That's why you can be concurrently logged in with 360 and One. I bet that's a totally different platform that it's talking to.
Fair play.
So, I think they just hadn't been hit by that much, and all of a sudden, Titanfall, I love how quick they were, too, to jump out and say, it's not Titanfall's fault. Titanfall's fine.
In fact, that was in Major Nelson's statement. He's like, Xbox Live is having issues. We're working on it. It's not Titanfall.
That's impressive because that's the first time that I think in recent memory that they've had a big game launch like that where multiplayer worked day one.
It had to work. I mean,
did.
there was
That's true.
no way to not have multiplayer work in that game. In fact, they Respawn canceled the localization of Titanfall for the South African market because they said that the internet in South Africa was not up to par to what it needed to be. I guess some people were able to play in the beta in South Africa, and they were getting like 200 millisecond ping times, and they said it was all right. But I guess they were just overall unhappy with the infrastructure there. So Titanfall is not being released in South Africa.
Yeah, it's crazy. EA went through. They didn't announce this ahead of time. First of all, EA just canceled all the pre-orders. And then later that day, they were like, yeah, sorry, not good enough. So we're just not releasing it.
It's like first world video game problems. Your internet's not up to snuff. Come on. Step up your game, guys.
All right, I'm sorry, you have 3-digit ping. We're going to have to cut you.
We just don't feel like you would experience our game in the way that we would want you to.
That is absolutely what they said, too.
I believe it.
You don't want to be playing a game against those people anyway. Those people, the motherfuckers who are warping around, you're like, where am I shooting?
Hey, it's us at the office.
It is true.
But on the bright side, it's not like they're going to be shooting anyone else.
That's true.
That's true.
But it's frustrating.
Although it is interesting that people who have like reliably poor connections and really high ping, they just get used to leading everything extra. They could be surprisingly good.
Do you think it fucks them up when they actually get good internet and that lead is built into them?
Wait, so you shoot where they are?
Huh. That's weird. We don't do that here.
But, I mean, aside from that, Titanfall, really fun game. I've really enjoyed it so far. I don't know how much you guys have played.
I've been trying to limit my experience. I played a little bit, but I've told myself I'm going to finish Stick of Truth and I'm going to finish Walking Dead Episode 2 before I start playing Titanfall. And I think I'm on the last level of Stick of Truth. Then I just got to get through Walking Dead. And
managed to push through that right at the end of the weekend so that I could be ready for Titanfall. Though I haven't 1,000 pointed it yet.
Is Stick of Truth worth playing if, like, I haven't watched South Park since, like, the 5th or 6th season, but I'm really desperate for an RPG. like a new RPG on Xbox One or PS4. I don't really care which. And I'm terrified of Dark Souls, which we can talk about later. But
yeah, Stick of Truth is fine. I mean, it's RPG light. light,
very light.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It's
not really.
Honestly,
it's a South Park game.
Yeah. As a
Not
South
an
Park
RPG.
episode, as a person that's a big fan of South Park and knowing all the ins and outs and all the little details that you'll pick up on the jokes, it's a lot of fun. As a purely RPG experience, it's pretty lackluster.
Yeah, it's super superficial. Yeah. There's not much depth to it. There's no like real skill trees. I guess there's different classes you can play.
There are skill trees based on not tree, but there are skills that unlock based around
abilities.
Yeah.
So there is some progression, but it's not like super detailed or anything.
Okay.
Yeah. There's item management, but it's not really well done or really deep. So yeah, if you were just looking for an RPG, I would not do it. But it is a really fun game.
So were you really clearing your schedules? Like you're like, I have to finish this.
I had to finish Plants vs. Zombies first.
I have a hard stop. I've penciled in Titanfall. That's my next appointment, and I'm not going to be late.
Yeah, so I'm trying to clear that stuff out, and I feel like I'm doing Garden Warfare a disservice. I've been really enjoying that game.
It's a great game.
It's going to fall on the back burner for a little bit while I've got to clear out these other things.
I'm really happy, too, that we can actually talk about new titles again. We had that long dearth there. But yeah, no, Plants vs. Zombies is a really fun game if you like sort of that Battlefield 4 or Battlefield kind of play style. It's really that with Plants and Zombies.
I'm a big fan of the Chomper.
Chomper, really?
The Chomper and the Scientist, I think, are my two favorites on the respective sides.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Chomper, I don't know what it is. I love going underground and doing that sneaking thing where you pull up on people and eat them.
Yeah. You like to lurk.
Yeah. Just like wait and patiently like an alligator and then strike when the moment's opportune.
Well, when you get into Titanfall, it is a lot of fun. The different game types that they've added, all of them, I've played one of every type of game. They're all really fun. CTF is kind of a weird mix for it, but it works just fine.
Is it actually a flag? Or
there's actually two flags.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always like it when they go traditional and CTF is actually an F instead of like anything
like
else.
An actual physical flag that you're
make
carrying
it a flag.
around. Yeah.
It's important.
What's so important about the flags? Like that's the thing is like,
you know what? It's tradition.
It is.
It's just one of those things that, it's like the Wilhelm scream in movies. When you see it and you just go, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a fun game. Looking forward to it. So some of the other things, there were a few other things I want to talk about Titanfall. So apparently, on the Xbox One, it's a 17 gigabyte download. On the PC, it's a 48 gigabyte download. And they said the discrepancy was that the PC version uses uncompressed audio because the minimum specs for the PC side were dual-core machines. And they said if a dual-core machine had to uncompress all that audio on the fly, that would take up too much CPU usage.
Yeah, they said that would take up almost an entire core on its own. So they decided to just do uncompressed audio for PC. Figure, fuck it, everyone's got a lot of hard drive space. Mm-hmm. And they'd rather do it that way than I guess make the download itself smaller.
No, well, they'd rather do it that way than I guess just raise their minimum spec, which it's weird that they would cut an entire country out of sales, but then 43 gig download, that everybody will do that.
Well, you can also buy retail, right?
I guess. Did they have a physical copy?
I don't know. That's a really excellent question.
I know they've got it for the Xbox, but I don't know if they have a physical copy of PC stuff.
I'll try and find it on Amazon because I just go, it's on Origin.
It's so much harder to get PC physical copies these days.
What is this world we live in?
I know. That's the origin of PC or of gaming in many ways is physical copies that you can go to a store and buy.
The origin?
Just man.
So I'm curious to see what Ashley finds here.
It looks like, you can. So, Amazon at least is giving me two options, which I appreciate. Thank you very much, Amazon. And that's the Titanfall. You can buy a code to download it, or it looks like you can actually get a box.
Okay.
Well, the funny thing though is a lot of times box copies these days even have a digital download component. Trying to remember, I think I've lost it, but I bought something recently that I got the disc and it still had to download and install things. But that's a lot of download. I think that's kind of unreasonable. I think they probably should just raise their minimum spec a little bit.
Yeah, but then they can sell more copies with a lower minimum spec.
Can you? I think if you take it up to a 43 gig download, how many people is that going to put off because they just think, there's no way I can get that? I mean, I guess unless they go find a physical copy.
Well, there are a lot of regions that have download caps on the internet.
Yeah.
Like they'll say you've bought 250 gigabytes this month. Downloading Titanfall is going to take up 20% of all the internet you get to use this month.
So the dirty secret about my fiber connection at home is that I have a cap.
Really?
Gus.
Yeah. I have
dun, dun, dun.
1 terabyte of data a month.
Oh.
1 terabyte.
Well.
How will you get by?
So I'm saying that it's already being implemented. In the past with my previous provider, with my cable modem, I would do 300 to 400 gigs a month. So I think I'm okay, but we'll see. We'll see once I get my first month of usage under my belt.
You know, I remember hearing there was a dirty secret about, I think it was Comcast maybe, and this was years ago, so I'm sure it's changed by now, where they had a hidden cap. And I think at the time it was something like 250 gigabytes because it was actually hard to exceed that because Netflix wasn't even, Netflix streaming wasn't even a thing yet. But if you went over 250 gigabytes like multiple times, they would drop you as a customer because they didn't want you. Your $50 a month was not worth it because you were costing them too much.
I believe it.
That's the other thing that's kind of surprising to me about Titanfall is that's got to cost a lot, right? To serve up that data at that size.
Yeah.
Compared to the 17 gig download.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, what I don't understand is why couldn't they have it like compressed and then decompress on installation? So you still take up 50 gigabytes of hard drive space, but it, doesn't.
That's a good question.
That's excellent. Download. That is an excellent question. Why didn't I even think of that?
I don't know. I'm sure the internet will have all kinds of corrections for us. I'm going to check Twitter.
You can't ever compress audio because it just never springs back to the right shape. Like you just lose some fidelities and some bits. There's some hertz loss.
Some hertz loss.
Well, the other thing though, Titanfall, talking about technical things, is the release resolution on Xbox
That's
One.
The next thing on my list. You see it right here.
Yeah,
right under 40 gigabyte install, 792p resolution.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess on the Xbox One, Titanfall shipped displaying a 792p resolution, which apparently is the same resolution that the beta ran at.
Okay.
They said that they're confident that they're gonna. Let me look up the exact quote. I don't know if they said confident.
All right.
So I want to make sure I'm not. They're
reasonable. They have a reasonable expectation.
I think the word is likely.
We think we might someday.
Yeah, that's the quoted word is likely.
Yeah, that is it. Likely to increase resolution after we ship.
Having played it now for a while, I don't know that it's going to happen.
Well,
There's
some. Does it matter?
It looks pretty good as is, but there is already some frame rate issues that I'm running into and a lot of screen tearing, which is weird because it's something I'm used to seeing on a PC, but it's odd running into it on a console for the first time.
I would say theoretically they could patch it. I mean, AC4 did the same thing as well. When it first launched, it launched at a lower resolution, and then they patched it and fixed some of those, frame rate issues, and then did have it scale up to a higher resolution.
Yeah, if they can improve the performance, then sure. I don't know how much more room they've got to do that with, though. We'll see. Well, it seems like something would have to give to be able to increase it, and I don't know if it's worth it, ultimately. I mean, 792 upscales and looks pretty much okay.
Here we go. Okay. Thank you, Twitter. You were awesome talking to you. They said that the Titanfall PC download is 20 gigabytes and it unpacks to 50.
Well, there you go.
So it turns
that makes more sense.
It turns out their engineers are almost as brilliant as we are.
Yeah, so they said that their target is either 1080p, non-anti-aliased, or 900p with FXAA. How do you say that? Is FXAA okay?
Full screen anti-aliasing, yes.
I thought that's what it was.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and I didn't actually know that they had that in the Xbox One. I guess that shouldn't be surprising, but either way, it looks fine. I think really if they would increase the frame rate so that I'm seeing less tearing and just leave the resolution alone, I'd be just as happy.
The last thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to Titanfall is the fact that Titanfall is launched on the Xbox One. It's launching in less than 2 weeks of the 360. Have you all seen any screenshots from the 360 version?
No one's shown screenshots. No one's shown video. It wasn't in the beta. There's been literally nothing seen of the 360 version, but they're saying, no, it'll be great.
Yeah, I think that's what the headline I read on Polygon was, that Microsoft promises a great experience.
I can't wait for it to be all cell shaded and like stick figures.
I'm sure it's going to look fine. I mean, but I mean, I'm just curious to know what it's going to look like.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure it's going to be just fine. Not amazing, and it's not going to look like the trailers, and a lot of people are going to be very disappointed because it's not the Xbox One version. It's going to look fine, for 360. It's probably going to play cool and everything. But Microsoft really, really would prefer you just buy an Xbox One. And hey, look, you get Titanfall for free.
You think that's like the big thing? It's like a marketing thing just to stress Titanfall on the Xbox One?
Absolutely.
Wait, Titanfall for free? Or does that come with consoles now?
Yeah, Titanfall is now being bundled in with consoles.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, with the Xbox One.
Nice. We went to a Titanfall launch event the other day, and I had not seen one of their limited edition controllers in person until then.
They're cool, dude.
Pretty nice.
We saw one at, we went to Best Buy and we saw it and we were like, yeah, we're going to get this. Do we need this? Nope. Plenty of controllers. Getting it anyway.
Is that the only non-black controller you can currently buy?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think
yeah,
so.
I don't know any other ones.
I think there's the black one. There's the black one that says day one on it.
Oh, I have that one.
And then there's the Titanfall one.
Nice. Much prettier, much more fancy.
They did a good job of actually making it almost look angular, even though it's on a curved surface.
Mhm.
I dig it.
It's pretty nice.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a cool event to go to the other day.
It looked like a lot of fun. It looked loud.
It was pretty loud. It was difficult. You know, we had the live stream there with the guy who was trying to break a million gamer score, and it was all like basically one big room. So it's like there's a concert with Childish Gambino going on there, and you're trying to talk to a guy, you know, about gamer score at the same time. It was hard to hear him sometimes.
Well, Barbara and Naomi Kyle and I all did the robot in the background of your stream, so you're welcome.
Nice. I'm sure it was a hit. I'm sure there's lots of gifs of it now.
And if it wasn't, it was really fun. That was a great stream, though. You guys did an amazing job.
Thanks. It's something that's easy to talk about. You know, talk about video games and talk about achievements. If it's something you're interested in, talk about it forever.
You'd almost think that you had experience hosting, impromptu conversations about video games on a regular basis.
For that, yeah. Somewhere where you might converse. That's like the shoe.
So one of the things I want to talk about is that Wildstar finally has a launch date announced, which is June 3rd. They announced that they had a trailer. They also announced their pre-order bonuses.
They also dropped the NDA.
Oh, really? Nice.
So now people are actually able to talk about it. I was actually scouring Reddit earlier today because I'm not allowed to play Wildstar because I don't get to play MMOs. That's one of my rules now that I know myself better. But it looks really cool. I really like the graphical style of it. So I like to read everything I can get my hands on. And unfortunately, a lot of the reports coming out of the beta are that it's actually not amazing.
Oh, really?
And I'm not sure if this is people who play a lot of MMOs and are spoiled by the individual things that people get right, but they're saying that the classes aren't really a lot of fun to play. The missions aren't great. Like it's lacking something, but I don't know what that something is.
You know, I didn't realize the NDA was down, or else I would have asked Adam Baird to make a cameo today. He's a big MMO player, and I know he's been playing it for a while.
Oh, great!
So I'd be curious to get his feedback. Maybe I'll see if we can get him on for next week's patch and get his thoughts on Wildstar. That game, we saw the unveiling of it a couple years ago at PAX Prime. That was the presentation we went to where Jack was so tired he fell asleep in the front row of the presentation. And I kept trying to kick him.
I've heard stories of this, yes.
Yeah, we were just in a tiny hot room after being at PAX for several days.
He was like 5 feet away from the guy, right?
Yeah, and he's like, they're announcing the game, showing it for the first time, and Jack was just passed out.
Did he snore really loudly?
No, thank God.
Was there drool running down his face?
I don't remember. There may have been drool.
Well, we're telling the story now, and he's not here to defend himself. So yes, he had a giant puddle of drool on his shoulder.
Yeah, it was
and
gross.
Encrusted.
Uncalled for.
Yeah.
So of course you can't talk about MMOs without talking about what Blizzard's doing right now. Hearthstone is finally out. You can download
their non-MMO news,
right? Well, they also have their MMO news right under it.
Fair enough.
Fair play.
Give them some time.
Hearthstone is out on the PC and Macs. One of the things I've always liked about Blizzard is when they launch a game, there's both PC and Mac support from day one. I know that doesn't matter to you, Ryan. But
don't care at all.
I truly appreciate it. I played the shit out of that in beta, so I'm excited to try to get back into it. It's one of the games I was disappointed by when there was a wipe. Like I had built such awesome decks, and then you wipe for another round of beta, and you're like, oh,
now you get to build it all again.
I know.
You get the magic of building a deck.
But now it's permanent. The game's out, so I don't have to worry about that anymore.
I also like that they took the opportunity moving from beta to release. They didn't just go, all right, we are now released. They actually made some changes and added some features and stuff too, like the Golden Heroes is pretty cool, although that sounds like it's going to be really hard to get because you have to win 500 ranked matches with a hero, with a hero card, and then it becomes a Golden Hero card and gets a new ability, something like that. That's cool. They rebalanced 2 cards, and they added for the ranked players, like if you participate in a season, you get like this cool, like a limited season card back. So you can show off, you're like, yeah, I was playing in ranked season 2.
Nice. I think one of the other things they said was if you play online and you win 3 matches, you get like a custom mount in World of Warcraft.
Really? So they're tying it back into the MMO.
There's some cross-sell. I like it.
So it's like really, really pushing all those products. Go figure. Blizzard, they kind of know what they're doing in that space.
Integrate across platforms, yeah.
The other thing I was going to mention in MMO news for Blizzard.
All right.
I guess the speculation is that their new expansion, Worlds of Draenor, will be released on or before December 20th. because they had, that page or they had that promotion where you could buy a higher level character.
Right.
And as part of it, it says on there, it includes a full expansion, a level 90 character boost, in-game items for World of Warcraft, StarCraft 2, Diablo 3. Warlords of Draenor is expected to release on or before December 20th, 2014. So they said they're going to release it in the fall of this year. December 20th, 2014 is the last day of fall. So they are.
Wait. Fall goes to December 20th?
21st is the first day of winter. And then March 21st.
Is there someone we can talk to about that? Because that seems incorrectly done.
It's all the months that are divisible by 3. Because it's March, June, September, December. Because you divide the year into 4.
That's weird.
Yeah.
You seem flabbergasted.
I am a little bit flabbergasted. It seems very poorly organized.
Well, global warming has really shifted where the months happen. So
that's true. We're still in winter. I guess technically we are still in winter for 9 more days anyway.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
It does not feel like it.
I don't know. It's been crazy here.
Well, give it another day or two, and then it'll go back down to 12.
So one of the other things I want to talk about. Well, actually, let me go back. I want to read this thing before I move on. Okay. I wanted to talk about some rumors that I read here, but first I'm gonna read this thing. I'll remind everyone that this episode of The Patch is brought to you by Hulu Plus. You've probably tried Hulu.com. Hulu Plus is so much more. With Hulu Plus, you can watch your favorite shows anytime, anywhere. Hulu Plus lets you watch thousands of hit TV shows and movies in the living room or on the go with your smartphone or tablet. With Hulu Plus, you can watch your favorite TV shows like SNL, Jimmy Kimmel Live, Shark Tank, and Scandal. Watch every episode of shows like Lost, Law & Order SVU, Doctor Who, and Community. You can also check out exclusive content, including Hulu originals like The Wrong Mans and Behind the Mask, Hulu's new docuseries that takes you inside the world of sports mascots. You'll also get access to a collection of ad-free movies and kids content. For only $7.99 a month, catch up. Let me say that again. For only $7.99 a month, catch up on current shows, binge on old favorites, or catch a great movie. Stream as many TV shows and movies as you want, wherever you want. Right now, you can try Hulu Plus free for 2 weeks when you go to huluplus.com/patch. It's a special offer for our listeners. Make sure you use huluplus.com/patch. You get the extended free trial, and they know we sent you. Again, that is huluplus.com/patch. Much thanks to Hulu Plus and their fine service. Available on just about every device you can think of.
It's available on my toaster.
So, right here. Apparently, this is the rumor I want to talk about. The Watch Dogs closed beta was on the Xbox One store briefly.
Oh, yeah.
I guess someone took a picture of it where you could have downloaded it. It's like a 23 gigabyte download.
It's amazing how quickly today, this is sort of unrelated, but sort of not, how things will go from someone will see it, they'll take a picture with their phone, it'll be all over the place so quickly. That turnaround time has become almost instantaneous. Mm-hmm. So it's really hard to get away with hiding something.
I'm sure it was something that was supposed to be flagged as like unlisted or private, and you're supposed to have a link to be able to get it, and someone didn't make it private.
It's like
well, it's not that it wasn't even private. It's that they found it through Upload Studio, through a way that, like, probably up till now, none of the Microsoft testers have thought to, like, protect against listing.
I didn't know that's how they found it.
They were looking for, like, game clips or something, and like they went to like sorting game clips by title, and saw that and went, huh, and then it linked off to a marketplace entry for it. So it's not listed in the marketplace. You couldn't go to the marketplace and find it, but they sort of snuck in sideways.
Yeah.
Was there any interesting information listed on the?
It says that the download gigabytes? The download was unavailable in this picture that they took. But yeah, 23 gigabytes. It says players 1 or 2 to 4 Xbox Live Gold.
So there's a file somewhere.
There is.
They have a file size. There must be a file.
Mm-hmm. So,
well, my personal theory on it is that that's how they were distributing to their actual testing program. Like, if they have testers who were not in-house, they had to have a way to get it to them. And maybe they thought that was the way, and maybe now they don't think that that's the way.
But I wonder if it's like signed code, because, I guess now you can make the Xbox One a dev kit, right? So you don't need special dev kits. Because previously with the 360 could not run unsigned code, so you needed a special XDK to be able to run that stuff.
And there's plenty of instructions out there if you would like to figure out how to turn your Xbox into a dev kit.
Although you don't want to do that right now, because my understanding is if you don't have like the right code for it that you get from Microsoft as part of their indie dev program, you can brick your console.
I've also seen instructions that are intentionally wrong.
They're almost all designed to crash your Xbox, I think.
Yeah, it's like if you follow the instructions in the walkthroughs you see online, you brick your console.
So internet, you can be so malicious.
Don't do that. You're not going to remind
you scamps, internet.
So this isn't on my list of things to talk about, but this kind of popped up, I guess, right before we were going to start the patch. I guess the Bafta awards are going on right now. Yeah. So I'm like refreshing here, trying to keep track of what's winning. I just want to point out that where is it? Papers, Please did win a Bafta for best strategy and simulation game. So that was one of my favorite games from last year. I know we talked about it at length.
I'm pretty sure it's got the passport simulation niche kind of just battened down. Creating it.
And no surprise, Last of Us does appear to have won Best Game, Action Adventure, Story, Audio Achievement, Performer. For a Performer award went to the actress who played Ellie. And that's all it appears to have won.
So how long before it just gets an award for Best Award Winner?
Best Award Winner. Most awards.
Best at winning awards.
Let's see. I had some news about The Last of Us in here. Where was it? I'm trying to find the article, but I read that there was movement. Here it is. The process of making the Last of Us movie is moving forward.
Right. And Naughty Dog came out and defended the two guys from Last of Us, say that they didn't push out that lady that was doing Uncharted.
I'm going to read that quote in just a second. I want to talk about the movie first. So I guess The Last of Us is, I guess it's moving forward. They said that the creative director on The Last of Us is going to join the Naughty Dog co-presidents as well as the game director in designing the film's overall creative vision. It doesn't seem like they have a director attached to it yet, but that is proceeding. But like you said, Naughty Dog...
I hear you Bowles available.
I'm sure he is.
Uwe, sorry. Kuwa? I don't know.
Never mind.
U-Bowl?
But like you said, the Naughty Dog presidents did defend their employees after the controversy for Amy Hennig leaving.
Yeah.
They said that normally they don't comment on rumors, but in this case that they felt like their employees were being cast in negative light, so they wanted to come out and try to clarify that no one forced anybody out.
So basically, they don't speak about rumors unless the rumors say bad things about their directors who then throw a hissy fit.
This is normally, here's the quote. I'll read it for you. Bruce Straley and Neil Druckmann were not involved in what transpired. Not is capitalized. Normally, we wouldn't respond to rumors or speculation on matters that are internal to Naughty Dog, but because the personal reputation of two of our employees is being damaged, we need to set the record straight.
I guess that's fair. I mean, in the world of social media, when you can really get hamstrung very quickly by bad word of mouth, it's nice that they came out to their defense. Mm-hmm. It's interesting how much and how little they said with that statement. They gave absolutely no details about the situation whatsoever, other than saying, but these two guys had nothing to do with it. And that's all they said, which, I mean, for a company, I guess that's fine. I mean, I don't blame them for not releasing more details.
Yeah, they're not under no obligation to.
Yeah.
And they might not be able to if it's like a personnel issue.
That's true.
There might be like privacy concerns involved with that kind of thing. So, I mean, I'm sure at some point word will get out on whatever happened, if anything did happen. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's speculation.
Yeah.
No. Twitter would also like to note that Papers, Please is on sale on Steam today.
Is it?
Yes, perhaps in celebration of their new BAFTA.
You should absolutely buy that game if you like checking passports.
Also, I think there's a big, PSN sale going on right now too. If anybody's interested in that,
nice.
A lot of like BioShock, a lot of the big series, Call of Duty, are like 50% off right now. Just a little FYI, if anybody's out there on PSN,
check it out. So over the weekend, was it this past weekend? It was this past weekend. So I've been running ragged with South by Southwest stuff. It's just been crazy. But I had a chance to sit in on a little bit of the Tales from the Borderlands panel that happened at the South by Southwest Games over the weekend, and they revealed a little bit about it and talked about the game.
Yeah, and for those who weren't as fortunate to sit on the panel, they actually published the whole panel on YouTube. So
yeah, we'll put it in the patch notes so that people can check it out.
You can get the virtual experience.
Yeah. So it's like I was in a hurry. I had to go to our booth in a little bit, so it's like I could only stay in for like 15 minutes. So I just stood off to the side, watched, and then like when I was done, like when I was out of time, just ran to the booth to go work there.
So what'd you learn?
They said that the series is going to focus around two main characters, but you're playing stories that happened to them in the past. So they said it's like the movie Big Fish, where it's like you're not playing what actually happened, but how they remember things happening. So maybe a little exaggerated,
or how they're relating them.
Right. It's all about like the perspective. And said that it's not the perspective of vault hunters. It's
schmoes.
Yeah, schmoes. They said they thought it was interesting when you're playing a character who cannot wield every gun and do everything.
Regular average person?
Yeah. You're basically playing like what would be an NPC in a Borderlands game.
Yeah. I think they called them scoundrels, if I recall.
Well, they
remember
both
the
seem
exact
like
wording.
scoundrels.
Yeah, and that this series will have a touch more humor than The Wolf Among Us and The Walking Dead.
Oh, they're going to lighten it up a little?
I hope so.
Yeah, they said it's not going to be quite as dark as their other series.
So you don't have to choose between like saving your family members or not eating for a day.
You might have to encounter that situation. They're not making any promises. They're going to try to make it a little more lighthearted.
Yeah, I guess the way they described it is instead of with something like The Walking Dead where you're trying to choose the least damaging of several options, this is like which you're choosing the best of a couple of really awesome options.
Oh, yeah, I could see that. That could be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit less of a downer. Those games are so good, but they're so hard to play. I mean, if you had any emotional levels that isn't like up there, you get into that, it's just like,
Yeah, like when I knew when I had to redo The Walking Dead episode 1, there was one thing in particular I was dreading, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have to live through that again. It's just like, yeah, it's miserable, just like I remember.
It's weird because I was thinking about this the other day because there was a game that did some biofeedback where it got more challenging based on what it detected about your heart rate and things like that. And I sat there thinking, well, I play a lot of games, and at this point, I get really into it. And sometimes if I'm playing like an FPS, I might get kind of excited as I'm playing, but I'm usually not actively nervous or scared.
Maybe not that you know of. Maybe your heart is beating faster.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's something that would be interesting to note, like what was happening that I'm not aware of. And then there's games like this where it's like, oh, that's really got a very palpable effect on me as I'm playing it. Where that hurts.
It could pop up a meter on screen that's like, rate your sadness on a scale of 1 to 10.
How good's your day going?
There is a limit to how much I want games to know about me. And like, I don't know, being able to like read the fact that my face just got flushed. I don't know. That might be a step too far for me.
It's a little bit of an overshare with your video game.
Yeah, I'm just not sure that I'm ready to be, that intimate with my video game.
Just unplug that Kinect then.
Yeah, that's why I turned off there's so many settings on there for what you want to share, especially if you play and use any of the fitness things on Xbox. It's like, hey, you want to tell everybody how much you did, how much weightlifting you did today? No.
Would you like to share your pulse?
I always have to double and triple check that I've turned off the microphone on my Kinect because I'm nervous that one day I'm just going to be like sitting there cursing up a storm and everyone in my party chat's going to be like, hey, calm down, dude.
See,
it's all right.
The microphone is, as far as I can, that's the best part of the new Kinect stuff. That's what I use. I love being able to shout like I'm getting a snack ready and just go, Xbox on! And then, sorry. I'm sorry, everybody.
Hopefully they were already on. If they were watching it on their Xbox, you're fine.
We'll try not to sign you out of Xbox One.
Yeah, as long as you don't say Xbox. Sorry.
Don't get me wrong. I love that stuff. I'm just afraid that like it's using party chat. Like that's what I'm afraid of. Like
which it is by default.
Right.
Yep.
So I had to go through and I'm always having to double check and make sure that stuff is disabled. But they did, I don't know if it had been previously revealed, but they did talk about the names. They named the two main characters in Tales from the Borderlands, Rhys and Fiona. Rhys, of course, spelled traditionally R-H-Y-S.
Rhys.
Yeah, that's how I'd spell it.
The normal spelling,
Is there another spelling for Rhys?
Isn't it R-E-E-S?
Like Reese's Pieces. That's how they're usually spelled, right?
They're delicious.
Well, speaking of the Gaming Expo, I would like to note that having walked around the floor, I didn't get to really go into any booths that much. Oculus Rift was everywhere.
Yeah.
There was 6 or 7 booths solely dedicated to things that had that as part of it. It's really interesting because I don't think there was an Oculus Rift booth, but there are so many products using Oculus Rift.
Yeah.
It might as well have been, honestly.
I know there were at least 2 like immediately next to our booth, but there were more.
There was
the dolphin one.
The dolphin one was so weird.
There was the Paperboy one. There was the
Paper Dude. Come on.
Paper Dude. Sorry. There was the one that was the full body tracking. Did you see that one?
No.
It looked honestly like and I wish I'd gotten the name of the company, but it looked like one of the magnetic motion cap suits where it was just a bunch of sensors on different parts of your arm that would relay your body information into the game. And there was the Virtuix Omni was there as well. That's the it's a framework that you stand in.
That's the treadmill.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of a treadmill.
I did see that.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. There's a frictionless kind of dish at the bottom. So when you run, you just kind of slide on it. It's not actually moving.
That sounds like it would be a really cool thing to experience. And also, I will never buy one because I just go, where am I going to store that? I don't have it. I don't have enough closet space for this stuff. I would have to throw out all my Rock Band stuff.
Plus, do you ever want to be playing a video game and go, whew, I need to go to Azeroth. but that is way over there. Of course, you and Burnie kind of did that anyway, right? I mean, you played a lot of games while on a treadmill.
Yeah.
It'd be essentially that, but every time you wanted to go anywhere, anytime, you would be hoofing it. So
yeah. Now thinking of games like Skyrim just makes me tired.
Yeah. Fast travel all of a sudden become very important.
It's a lot more useful. One of the other booths I saw, I don't know if you saw it, it was a company that would do a 3D scan of your body.
Yeah.
It's like you would go into this booth and they had set up 80 DSLRs all around it, and they would all take a picture at once, and then it would create a 3D model that they clean up a bit and then create a 3D printout, like they print a 3D figure of yourself, like in whatever pose you wanted.
That could be cool.
It seems pretty cool. Like, imagine if for the patch we had like little 3D versions of ourselves here on the desk. It's like this week, and you just like hold up yourself.
I'm not entirely sure I want to be represented to that degree of accuracy in any figurine.
Do you think we can specify, like, if you could just like slim my hips
Yeah,
a little bit?
Bulk it up a little bit.
Just like wear a corset and a giant padded bra or something. I don't know. Just, like, you got to make your actual self, like, reshape yourself a bit. I would definitely put a girdle on me.
Just suck that area in, and then just take all that and put it up here.
Get rid of some cheeseburgers in here, and move them over here.
Yeah.
The other thing, sorry, go ahead.
There's some level of accuracy that I just don't want.
Yeah, no one really wants that much reproduction. The other thing that I saw that was really weird, I thought that it was there. Did you see the tracking point booth?
Yes, they were there last year too. Surprisingly,
I mean, they've had a big video going around on the internet this year. That's tracking point is a scope that you put on a rifle, a real rifle. And what it appears to do is you have a first level zoom, you mark a target, and then it uses some form of image recognition to track that target. And it will give you a secondary crosshair, and it does all the calculations for windage. Well, I don't know about windage, but elevation, spin, all that kind of thing. And you just line up your original dot with your second crosshair, and you just hit what you're aiming for. It takes all the thought out of, I guess, being a sniper. But
I feel like I just saw something like that on an episode of Almost Human.
It wouldn't
freaks
surprise
me out a little bit.
Well, it exists, so it's a real thing. You don't even have to wait for the future. You can see it now.
We live in the worst version of the future.
Of course, as long as we don't have that. What was that Tom Selleck movie in the '80s with the bullets that would follow you around the corners and stuff? Like, I always forget the name of that movie.
That also showed up in Fifth Element, I think. They had the smart gun.
Mm-hmm. Just like Titanfall.
Just like Titanfall. It's coming
it's
through.
All coming back together.
Though in I will say though, the video
Runaway. That's the name of the Tom
Runaway.
Selleck
There
movie.
you go.
Okay, sorry. Whew.
The video that they put up.
You were gonna be really worried about that one for the whole patch, weren't you?
It was gonna bother you.
Yeah.
The video they put up, it has a bunch of guys shooting like wildebeests from a helicopter with the thing. It's like, did they not have enough disadvantages already? Like, they're quadrupeds with no weaponry, and we need an aerial vehicle with a special sniper scope that aims for you. Come on.
Well, yeah.
At least make it a challenge.
It's an interesting. I mean, I'm just excited about it from like a technology perspective.
Man, killing people just isn't enough of a challenge anymore.
Well, these are hunters. I'm not talking about killing people. I mean,
but you're talking about sniping. Who snipes a deer?
Apparently, these guys do.
Really? That's a thing?
Yeah. I mean, my thought is go at it with a knife, or you're not man enough.
What about a bow and arrow?
Yeah, that's still a bit removed. I want like some guy with a knife in his teeth, like waiting in a bush, just Rambo style with like mud on his face.
Yeah, then you really got to worry about the antlers.
Then you deserve to mount it on your wall.
All right, fair play. One of the other big updates, of course, came out this week. I haven't had a chance to use it yet. Is the Twitch streaming update finally hit the Xbox One?
I'll be really curious to see if they end up hitting numbers like PS4 has. I mean, Sony was earlier this month that Sony announced that that since the 1st of January they've been 20% of all Twitch streams.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive. Not 20% of all viewers, because the PC games like League of Legends and Dota and all that stuff have
Twitch plays Pokemon.
Huge.
Twitch plays Pokemon have way bigger numbers in terms of viewership, but in terms of like overall streams going out there, I'll be curious to see if Xbox One is able to match them, or like what the difference is in how their integration is done, like what that means for their adoption.
I don't think they're going to be able to match it for two reasons. One, obviously the PS4 has more sales.
More units, yeah.
Two, the PS4 has that dedicated share button on the controller. It's a hell of a lot easier. That's kind of, I mean, it's as dumb as it sounds.
The Xbox One is just a voice command, right?
For people who plug in their Kinect. Like you run the risk of people not having their Kinect.
It's true, but the Kinect is kind of cool for Twitch because it also lets you do a picture-in-picture.
See, I don't like that. I wouldn't mind streaming my game. I don't want to stream my ugly face. I mean, I'm already doing this stream. I don't need to do any more.
You don't need more vectors in your life for pictures of yourself.
But Gus, we just want to see you.
Don't you have a portrait of you behind you at your desk?
Yeah.
I guess it's behind you.
Yeah, I don't have to see it.
Do you have the little you still on your desk facing you?
Yeah, I do have that.
All right.
I should turn it around and face it the other way.
So just put that in front of the Kinect.
There you go.
That's true.
She's got it.
That's it.
You can go get that 3D model printed out of you.
Yes.
It can be so accurate that people won't even know that it's not you.
That's an excellent idea.
Complete lifelessness.
Hey, you never know. Yeah, so I'm really, really curious to see how it goes. I haven't tried watching a stream yet, but hopefully I'll try to do that this evening. Now that Xbox Live is back and functioning correctly.
It's not.
We hope. Wait, it's not again?
Well, not again. It's just that so at the beginning of the patch, I checked the Xbox Live status, and it still says that core services are limited signing into Xbox Live on Xbox One. So
I wonder if, again, it's
maybe not fully.
I was able to
solved
sign
yet.
in this morning.
But the last update though was at 4:09 p.m. GMT. So that was this morning.
Okay.
Yeah, everything was working fine for us here at the office, but wait till I get home.
So this next topic I have isn't exactly directly video game related, but it's kind of indirectly. So I guess Valve and Cryptozoic are working together to make a Portal board game, which is going to be released later this year. They have a working title for it. This is not the final title, but like their current working title is, where is it? Portal, Uncooperative Cake Acquisition Game.
Nice.
I really like board games. I actually really wanted to get the so there's a BioShock Infinite board game as well. And it's supposed to be really cool. You get to play as either the Vox Populi or the Crazy Racist dudes. I don't remember their faction names. Sorry, the other ones. And it's basically like a territory control game. So you're not actually playing the story or anything like that. It's just sort of tangential using like that world and those factions. Looks really cool, but I think it's probably on a much simpler level. But it's only 2 players, so we Bernie and I never bought it because we like to play board games with the boys.
Yeah.
So apparently, I'm reading a little more about
how many players
Portal
does Portal have?
I don't know, but apparently Valve worked on the prototype for a year before they approached Cryptozoic about making the game.
Really?
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so I guess in typical Valve fashion, they're working on it like crazy before even showing it to anyone for the first time.
So they're gonna have a beta test for their board game. You still call it the same, or
it's available late Q4.
So do you set traps for the other person? I don't know. I'm curious how this translates into.
I'm curious to see how they distribute it via Steam.
It could be a virtual board game.
What if
like virtual card games like Hearthstone? It's a whole new thing.
What if you got to the point where you could buy a board game on Steam and then print it out on your 3D printer?
I mean, you could do that now.
That would be cool, but
legally.
But everything that you print out with 3D printers right now is limited in size, and it's all like one color, right? And it's all like a single material.
There are multicolor ones, but
Oh.
Like the one we have currently only has one extruder, so we can do one color. But you can get like a dual extruder one that can do 2 colors. Or if you're really patient, you could do multiple colors. I guess you'd have to do it in different layers. Like you couldn't go back down.
Theoretically, you can pause and change out filament as it's doing it. But yes, it's only going up.
And also
you can't go back down.
All right, I'm just going to order something on Amazon and then have a drone drop it off to me and not do any of that. How about that?
That sounds like a better plan, yeah.
That sounds like so much work.
The print would also take hours.
To avoid paying for the board game.
Yeah, but I mean, like a download of a game takes hours. You just fucking start your print and then go to sleep. And then when you wake up, board game. Just like a big video game. Except you can still use your internet because you're not using all your bandwidth downloading.
Well, no, it depends on how big the STL file is. Maybe it's really detailed. You don't know.
Yeah, but they're small. We'll see.
They are.
We're going to get there. I guarantee it. We're going to have like Steam, like physical edition, where it sends you stuff to print out at home on your 3D printer, which is part of your computer. That also makes you waffles.
So food at printer as well.
Waffles, I'm down.
Apparently there was a food replicator there as well at the Gaming Expo.
South by,
there was?
That seems like a weird place for a food replicator.
Well, again, it was probably just a dessert extruder where it would just squish chocolate out onto something. But that's the only, I've only seen it used for desserts.
You know
and
what?
Thank God, because I don't want to know what a extruded hamburger would look like.
No, but you know what? If we're just talking about like extruding chocolate into unique shapes, I'm down with 3D printing again. Let's do this.
You're back on board.
The thing is, Extruding does not sound like an appetizing word.
Isn't it a great word for eating?
No.
Then you just extrude it into your mouth.
Extrusion doesn't work that. I guess, yeah, you could extrude it. Okay, I follow. I'm
It's
with
like
you now.
easy cheese. You're extruding it into your mouth.
Wow, yeah, that's exactly what it's like.
It is. Wow. There you go.
You just
Don't
blew
eat
my
easy
mind.
cheese. It's the worst thing you could do to yourself.
Easy cheese is great.
Okay, I adore easy cheese, but not because it's related to cheese at all.
No.
Just it's because it's so ridiculous. When I was living in Australia and I'd be like, my dad just sent me cheese in a can, people would say, they were shocked at the very idea. And so I made them eat it, and then they all loved it because it's not remotely real food.
Did they, in easy cheese, do they spell cheese Cheese, or do they have to spell it like Cheez?
Easy because it's not related to
Not
cheese.
actual
Right.
cheese
Not sure.
product. No cows were harmed in the making of this spray can of cheese.
It's always strange to me how different those regulations are country to country. Like there's a big manufacturer of Greek yogurt in the U.S. I think it's Chobani, and they wanted to start trying to sell it in the UK, but they couldn't label it Greek yogurt because it's not made in Greece.
So Greek style yogurt.
False advertising.
Yeah, I forget what the compromise was. Like they have to change their packaging and add like a clarification.
There's a really popular candy overseas. It's like I think they're called like Kinders.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
And it's
Kinder
chocolate.
Eggs.
Yeah, Kinder Eggs, and it's the chocolate with like a toy in it, and they're not legal in the U.S.
They are now.
They are now. Oh,
Finally
awesome.
legalized.
Let's go.
Yeah, they got legalized last summer, I think. They finally
it's just
changed that.
it's weird to think that people were just so concerned that little kids would they'd reach the toy inside and just keep eating.
Well, I mean, just like video games, it's just better if you don't monitor your children at all and just let them be raised by the wilds of the world.
That's the way cavemen worked, right?
Yeah.
It's just survival of the fittest.
Sure.
You get in the end, you get a stronger kid out of it.
It's true. Or no kid. One way or the other.
You don't better a
What's
strong
up?
kid than a weak kid.
What's up, Sparta?
Yeah.
So we had not talked about this. This was something that was on my list of patch topics to talk about a long time ago. That RBI Baseball is coming back. RBI
Really?
Baseball was one of my favorite games on the NES. Way back in the day, and it's coming back on April 10th. They're making a new version, RBI Baseball 14.
That's really cool.
It's coming to the 360, PS3, iOS, and Android.
Oh, that's an interesting spread.
Mhm.
Okay.
But I mean, as they said, from what I remember, it's going to be similar to the old game where it's just 2 buttons. It's like a simple game.
It's really stripped down. Is it going to be, so did you say arcade, or is it actually going to be a full title?
It doesn't say.
It doesn't
Okay.
specify, but I'm like, if it's 2 buttons, I'm gonna go ahead and guess that
Yeah.
it's well, and also the iOS and Android is a hint that you would probably find the best life as a downloadable title.
So you can buy it on arcade for $40, or it's $1 on the App Store.
Exactly.
Let's see, it's in development by MLB Advanced Media, the Baseball League's in-house interactive entertainment division that handles mobile games and broadcast tools like
Okay, well,
MLB TV.
What we really care about is if that's who made the original RBI Baseball.
The original one, if I remember, those used to come on like those bootleg Tengen cartridges, right?
Oh, yeah.
There was like the black cartridge that had like the little beveled edge. So it's like, oh, this fits in your NES. It's not quite licensed.
Third party.
Yeah. Here, let me look this up. I'm gonna look up and see who the original developer was of RBI Baseball.
That's probably the best forum nowadays for any kind of baseball game, because I don't know that a full title is really going to hold up that much. You don't hear too much about full baseball games any longer.
The developer was Namco, and the publisher was Namco and Tengen.
Those still
Okay.
exist?
Remember,
Well,
we had this
Namco does.
discussion
Come
the other
on.
day about Namco Bandai becoming Bandai Namco.
Right.
So yeah, they're still around. But like I just read, MLB apparently is handling the development first party.
I mean, I guess that's cool now, but like, I just feel like someone who's at like an actual baseball company, it seems like this isn't accurate enough. They'd be like, well, what do you want with 2 buttons?
No, but it is Major League Baseball that's developing it.
Right, that's what I mean. It's
Yeah.
like they're gonna. I feel like they would want a nice, realistic game that represents their sport with all possible accuracy.
That's not RBI Baseball.
Exactly.
So the question I have is, we just talked about this, about how RBI Baseball came on like that black Tengen cartridge. I was like, not licensed. They got the fucking license for MLB. I'm looking at the cover of the box here. There's the fucking
Wait, so
MLB logo on it.
they-
It says Major League Baseball. They got that license, but wouldn't get the Nintendo license.
Hey, you got to draw lines somewhere,
I
man.
guess if you're making a baseball
Draw a
game,
line.
there's one of those licenses you really need and the other one you don't.
Let's be fair. Nintendo is probably a lot more picky than MLB.
At the time? Yeah. Probably. But yeah, I'm really, really excited about that. I have a lot of fond memories of playing RBI Baseball as a much younger Gus. So I hadn't heard about this other story.
It is download only.
Okay.
There we go.
I guess I was just so caught up with South by Southwest stuff. I hadn't heard that Jack Tretton is stepping down as a president of Sony Computer.
You didn't hear that?
No.
Yeah.
That's huge. He's been there since the division started.
Yeah, he was not president, but he was an executive when the first PlayStation launched, and he's overseen every launch since then. He hasn't said anything about why he's stepping down. Yeah, just that he says he's looking forward to the next stage of his career, and if I was him, that would be, sipping Mai Tais on a beach somewhere with all of my dollars.
Just rolling in your millions.
Well, look at all the successful launches he's overseen, and now he's successfully launched PS4, and he's like, well, I won this one. I'm out.
What do you think?
I'm going to go out on a high note.
Do you think that maybe he feels like he's worked in the industry enough and he doesn't want to stick around long enough to see the launch of another console? Since it's so far away, he's like, we launched this one. This one's been, like you said, this one's been successful. Let's just put it to bed. I'm going to let the next guy step in and begin the work and the framework that'll lead to the successor.
Yeah, and the guy who's going to be the new president, I guess he was president of Sony Computer Entertainment Japan, and then he went to Sony Network Entertainment International, which I don't even know what that is. And he's been running that, and now he's going to come be the SCEA president.
That's going to be kind of scary though to hand that over to a new person. I mean,
especially but look. You got PS4 for another 7-8 years before you have to worry about this guy really fucking it up.
That's true. He's got time to learn. But I mean, that all the stuff that PS4 is a great expression of what they learned over successive console releases. So you hope that there's enough people with that experience left behind after this guy's left.
There should be. I mean, I don't think any good company rests that much, on one person. You got to build a good team, and you rely on that team to do to pick up the slack and all do their part. You can't be single threaded and be successful.
Have some person that's like a linchpin for a particular organization. I mean, look at Steve Jobs. He was kind of like the nexus of Apple.
I think he's very famously a control freak and wanted to be in charge of everything.
But at the same time, he also got results.
Yeah. But I think that's a very rare individual that you see that happen. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find another successful company that relies that heavily on one person. My opinion.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's great. I hope he continues to do work in the game industry. But good luck to them.
Yeah.
Or at least writes a blog somewhere so we can keep up with him.
That'd be interesting if he moved on and became like a commentator on the industry.
I wouldn't be that surprised. Well, I wouldn't say it's likely, but he does have a lot of expertise to offer. He could share a lot of insights into why and how certain things are done that people who are outside of those high executive levels don't often get to see.
Or he can make the big dollars doing consulting.
Yeah.
He's going to go become a lobbyist.
Oh, God. So I guess one of the other things I want to talk about here is I guess there's a new studio called Zombot that's their goal is to bring AAA titles to mobile.
And I don't even know what that means.
Well, like good, high-quality stuff, not just a Flappy Bird clone. Incidentally, I read a stat earlier that after Flappy Bird, that a Flappy Bird clone was hitting the App Store every 24 minutes.
Yeah, there's something like 50 a day. Did you hear the Flappy Bird made a return?
Yes, I did hear that. He said a lot of things that we had speculated, that he was getting a lot of attention in his home country and that his family's pictures were in the newspaper and people were showing up at his parents' house.
Yeah, he was getting attacked by not attacked, but surprised by paparazzi all the time. That poor guy. That's for just a normal person, just one day waking up and there's paparazzi following you everywhere, and everyone just dogpiling and trying to get their share of new information out of you, no matter what. That's got to be really, really stressful.
Yeah. So,
but also the fact that he felt like people were getting too addicted to the game and damaging themselves, emotionally.
But apparently now it's okay because he said he might bring it back.
He said he might if he does though, he wants to put warnings on it about taking breaks.
Oh, that'll fix it. Problem solved.
I know. Every time that I'm playing 3DS, in A Link Between Worlds, it says, you've been playing for a while. Why not take a break? And I'm like, you're not the boss of me.
Yeah, just like how
you don't tell me what to do.
Putting the warning labels on cigarettes stop people from getting cancer,
absolutely,
right? I mean, that absolutely works.
Wow, way to liken Flappy Bird to cancer.
I'm just saying, if he's worried about addiction, let's fucking cut to the chase. So the interesting thing about this Zombot studio, to roll back a second, is that you hear a lot of things like this, where it's like, we're a new development company, we're going to work to whatever buzzwords, but then you look at like who's actually behind this studio.
Buzz.
It's a team of developers from Bungie, Rockstar Games, Insomniac, and Ubisoft, including including Alex Chu, who was a concept artist on Halo Reach, Destiny, Tomb Raider, Dead Space. It's like, these guys have worked on a lot of great titles. I'm really curious to see what's coming out. And I think they even have a trailer for a game called Project Galaxy that they're putting out later this year.
I don't know. That might be kind of scary to me, honestly, because you've seen a lot of talent move towards the mobile field.
Yeah, I think that's what scares me about it too. Is there's so much money in the mobile field that I'm terrified that we're gonna lose the best and brightest.
Well, yeah, if you're
game developers to the market where they can just print money.
Yeah, if you're a quality developer and you can bypass a publisher, and essentially, I guess you have to cut money to an app store like Apple or whoever. But you take in the lion's share of the rest of that revenue. Why wouldn't you do it?
But can they just maybe make indie games and release them on Steam?
Well, maybe a game, maybe a game like this, you could see cross-platform stuff. I mean, you look at the Telltale games; those come out on mobile devices as well as consoles and PCs, and those are fine on all of them. They might be able to reach a happy medium where they can do that.
That's true, but these guys seem like they're saying, "Hey, we specifically want to do big mobile stuff."
I wonder if they're
not
really
mobile and then maybe PC.
I wonder if they're really targeting like next generation of mobile hardware though, because I mean, at a current level, you can do some interesting things with it, but it's not like what I would ever refer to as a AAA game on mobile.
It's always hard to define like next generation mobile as well. Like I think like the NVIDIA Tegra stuff that they announced at CES is exciting for like down the road when that starts coming out. But these guys already have. They said this game is coming out, I think, this summer.
I guess what defines a AAA really?
Right.
Like what does that mean?
Well, I know that like Epic worked on. Were they in the Infinity Blade games? And those were a really big, ambitious mobile game. But as far as like AAA, other than that, I don't really know. But then again, I don't do a lot of mobile gaming. Maybe we can call Burnie in to talk about his threes addiction some more.
I hate him so much. His 3 score is so much higher than mine.
What's yours?
I don't remember. It's like I don't want to say it. I remember. I just don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. So you mentioned Flappy Bird. You jumped ahead of me. I was going to talk about Flappy Bird after this.
Sorry.
No, you don't know. So
you don't know. What you did.
I don't know if you saw, but there's this company making a Flappy Bird clone, but the controller is a little plush Flappy Bird, and you control the game by doing this.
Do you throw the bird in the air?
Bouncing it?
You like bounce it like up or down, I guess. And they're trying to get it.
I've just been thinking, I love playing video games, but I wish I could look more ridiculous while I'm doing it.
They have a video promoting it. It's pretty cringeworthy. So they're trying to crowdfund it. I don't even know what platform that is. I guess they want $25,000. They have 29 days left, and they're 12% of the way there.
Huh.
They're probably going to make it.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. But
that's a weird one to me.
It seems really... No, it seems more than weird. It seems dumb to me. So I'm showing them.
So who's going to sue somebody over this thing?
And it's essentially just like, it's an identical Flappy Bird ripoff. Flappy is a plush toy that controls the game on your phone or tablet. The game is our version of the beloved Flappy Bird by Dong Wen. To make Flappy fly in the game, you lift up Flappy.
Is that like the next level of ripping someone off if you actually reference them in the thing you're ripping
you're like,
them off with?
It's our version of that. It looks exactly the same, except it has this connecting to Flappy toy screen, which obviously the other one didn't have.
See, what we did is we took everything that he did and we modified the color. And
I don't think
it's
they even modified the color.
Not even
it looks
modified.
exactly the same.
No. See, that's what you got there is canary yellow. And the original bird,
Flappy yellow.
Yeah, Flappy yellow.
Oh, I got you.
It's
totally
a fine
different.
distinction, but it copyrights doesn't cover it.
It circumvents all the copyrights. I'm trying to see. I'm trying to refresh the Bafta Award winners here. I just got an error.
It's broken,
and it's loading now.
Bafta Award for fastest loading website.
Let's see.
So the Bafta for debut went to Gone Home.
Really?
Yeah, which is a great game. People should definitely check that one out. Trying to see what else is here. Game Innovation went to Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. At
that
first,
was a great game.
I was put off by that one. Like I wanted to buy it and play it on my PC, and then it said, controller required. Like, oh, what is this shit? So I decided to play it on my 360 instead because I had my controller there. And I like you understood like, oh well, that's why you need a controller.
It makes sense.
It's a little unusual, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually really difficult to control at first. I had a very difficult time, and I ended up solving it just by making sure I kept each of the brothers on different sides.
That's what I did. Like
I was
left brother
kept
was
them in
on
the same
left.
order,
Yep.
and then it was fine. But I couldn't cross them, or I lost everything.
Tearaway did pretty well also. It won for artistic achievement, family, and mobile and handheld.
That makes me wish I had a Vita.
I've been wanting to buy a Vita now just to play Tearaway. I saw some talks by the Media Molecule team at DICE talking about the process and the game, and I was like, man, I really should play that game. It looks really fun.
Maybe we could spring for an Office Vita.
Yeah,
there you go.
Let's do that. Papers, Please won strategy and simulation. BioShock Infinite won for original music.
Which is interesting because most of the music in that was covers of other songs, right?
Well, I ended up getting the soundtrack with it, and no, it's actually there's a lot of stuff. It's just that you don't notice it. The ones that you notice are the covers of this other stuff, but that's in the end that's like three.
Which admittedly,
3 or 4 maybe. Although those were really cool, I actually really loved those. It was my favorite part. I ended up being disappointed that those weren't in what I had, which maybe I had the score as opposed to the soundtrack. I'm not sure. I'm not clear on the distinction. But either way, the covers weren't in it, and I was sad because those were the one thing I really wanted.
That was a really neat part of that game, is that discovering, because a lot of times I don't really pay that much attention to the music, but when one of those would start playing and I wouldn't be really paying attention, and then all of a sudden I'd realize that I'm listening to something that I recognize.
Yeah. For me, it was when I heard that Barbershop Quartet covering God Only Knows.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell is this?
That was the one right at the beginning,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That was fantastic.
So
that was a really cool moment.
This thing. Hourglass just ran out.
That thing's wrong.
No,
So I'm just going to finish reading the winners here.
We have Creeper left.
The Fellowship
I didn't
Award,
even
I
talk
don't know
about
what
Dark
that means.
Souls.
That's Rockstar Games. Multiplayer,
It's hard, I hear.
game design,
why I'm
and
scared.
British game went to GTA 5. And then all the other ones we talked about for The Last of Us already. So that's it. We're at time. We'll talk about Dark Souls next week, Ashley. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We'll have more time to play it.
So I want to remind everyone that
or attempt to play it.
we have a special party cast, special edition podcast tomorrow evening, Thursday, available. Anyone can watch it at partyca.st.
Creeper.
Party foul.
Next Monday, we'll be back with another episode of RT Podcast. And next Wednesday with another episode of The Patch.
Go home, Creeper. You're
Thanks,
drunk.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.